aspirants, it's 8th of October today, and I welcome you all on today's edition of What to Read in the Hindu newspaper. I'm 𝗗𝗶𝗹𝘆 𝗡𝗲, Senior Mentor at Prepp IAS. While going through the articles, we will not only see its relevance with regard to prelims and mains, but we'll also try interlink it with other GS papers as well. I am here to align your newspaper reading as a part of our GS syllabus. So let's get started. The very first article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention is on editorials page, and that primarily talks about release Wangchuk. So the key theme that has been discussed in this particular article is majorly about misuse of preventive detention, laws such as NSA, which is supposed to be used against peaceful dissent. Afterwards, governance challenges in addressing autonomy demands in Ladakh. So these two important key themes can be linked while going through this particular article. When we map it in our syllabus, this will fall under GS paper 2 under the theme governance, polity, civil liberties, role of civil society, and also GS paper 3 wherein internal security with regard to preventive detention laws can be mapped. From prelims perspective, this particular article is relevant when seen from the lens of National Security Act. We need to know about its objective, its provisions, difference between law and order versus public order. Afterwards, we need to know about several Supreme Court judgments with regard to preventive detention, such as in case of 𝐾𝐴 case, ADM Jabalpur case, and recent ruling on subjective satisfaction when required, a person can be detained. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. From mains perspective, the same article is to be seen through the lens of ethics and governance, wherein tolerance for dissent as a mark of good governance can be seen. So this is how we will see this article holistically and under various themes, its relevance as well. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about radical tunnel. Now, Nobel Prize season is on. Yesterday, Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine was announced, and today, Nobel Prize in Physics is announced. So, the key theme that has been discussed in this particular article primarily talks about macroscopic quantum tunneling, which links pure science discovery to quantum computing innovation, has been discussed. When we map this particular article, it will fall under GS paper 3 under the theme science and tech, wherein quantum mechanics, superconductivity, and new emerging technologies can be mapped. From prelims perspective, the arenas that we have to discover and unfold is about Josephson junctions, quantum tunneling, supercomputing qubits, knowing about these small concepts, and at the same time, why 2025 Nobel Prize is being given to this. We need to know about the concept and what could be the probable application for the same discovery, right? From mains perspective, the same article is to be seen through the lens of advancement in quantum computing and physics that is altogether reshaping computing and communication technologies. So there could be a probable question how India is prepared, how much it is prepared or not with regard to quantum revolution that is seen across globally. And what are the infrastructure measures and policy initiatives that has been taken in this regard. This is how this particular article is to be seen and unfold upon. The next relevant article from today's paper is about a path to progress that is paved with gold. Now, when we map this in our syllabus, this will fall under GS paper 3, economy, wherein capital mobilization, financial inclusion, and external sector management can be quoted. This is also relevant for GS paper 2 under the theme governance and policy trust. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article primarily talks about financial self-reliance through domestic gold monetization, Atmanirbharta in finance, which leads to converting cultural wealth into economic capital. From prelims perspective, perspective, we need to know about gold monetization scheme, what were its objective, its mechanism, and what has been the past issues with regard to it. We need to know India's global gold reserve data, import dependence, and from May's perspective, the same article is to be analyzed through the lens of how gold monetization can contribute to India's goal of financial self-reliance. In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about it's time for Maoists to lay down arms. Now, this is relevant for GS Paper 3, Internal Security, Left-Wing Extremism, also relevant for GS Paper 2, Governance and Welfare Measures, Tribal Development Inclusions. The key theme that has been discussed by the author in this article talks about decline of Maoist insurgency and lessons for democratic integration. From prelims perspective, we need to know about what is left-wing extremism, what are the causes, the affected districts and areas, what has been the security response so far. For example, a Cobra battalion is being made, Operation Black Forest was done, 𝗨𝗏𝗏 case, Supreme Court judgment of 2011. All these things are to be read and revised. And the main angle that can be linked from this particular article could be several socio-economic causes that leads to countering left-wing extremism. So what are the reasons for the same and what has been done so far to eradicate it? In this manner, this particular article is to be seen. The next important article that is there in the paper and that catches our attention talks about why Indian capital needs to invest domestically. Now, when we map it in our syllabus, this will fall under GS Paper 3 under the theme Indian economy, investment, inclusive growth and employment. The key theme that has been tried to discuss in this particular article talks about need for Indian capital to prioritize domestic investment, wage growth and R&D over foreign expansion. From prelims perspective, we need to know about the trends. Now, what sort of trends? Private versus public investment trends that has been seen post LPG reforms. Outward FDI and R&D expenditure that is being done by Indian government and also the private sector. Afterwards, there has been several schemes that has been launched for export promotion, such as PLI scheme, economic survey data to substantiate it. All these things can be explored, unfolded, and read and revised. From Main's perspective, this particular article is to be seen through the lens of why has private investment remained subdued despite strong profits. So in this manner, this particular article is to be seen. The next important article that is there in the paper and that one must go through is about the cough syrup death that we have seen. So cough syrup death toll increases to 20 in MP. Now, when we map this particular article in our syllabus, it will fall under GS Paper 2, under the theme Health, Regulation of Drugs, Governance in Public Health. Also relevant for GS Paper 3, wherein Science and Tech, Quality Control and Regulations in Pharmaceuticals can be seen. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article primarily talks about regulatory lapses leading to public health tragedies. From prelims perspective, we need to know about the several acts and provisions with regard to quality control in pharma sector, particularly. Drugs and Cosmetics Act, role of CDSCO, diethylene glycol contamination, what this chemical is, why it is harmful. From Main's perspective, we need to know the challenges India is facing in drug quality regulation system. And that is even maligning our image globally. So in this manner, that this article could be seen. Also, there could be one more angle which can be emphasized is how the federal mechanism with regard to coordination between center and state, how they can collaborate and contribute to regulate drugs. So in this manner, this particular article is to be seen. Now, the last important article for the day from the newspaper is about waiting for other countries to unveil digital currency, says RBI. Relevant for GS Paper 3 Economy, Banking, Digital Infrastructure. The key theme that has been discussed in this particular article talks about RBI's cautious approach towards retail and digital currency, and that focuses on cross-border use case. We need to know about, from prelims perspective, what is CBDC versus UPI payment versus cryptocurrency, its feature and global acceptance and its status. Then role of RBI in digital financial infrastructure. We can even evaluate the entire article with regard to mains perspective on the theme of evaluating opportunities and risks for central bank digital currencies for India. Right. In this manner, this particular article is to be read and revised. This is all from my end for today's paper analysis. Till we meet for the next time, take care and goodbye.